The ocean churned with an unnatural darkness as the massive alien ships loomed on the horizon. Captain J. Park stood on the bridge of the retrofitted U-boat, his eyes locked on the advanced holographic display. The world had changed dramatically in the past few months, and humanity's survival now depended on these underwater hunters. Weeks earlier, strange signals had appeared across the world's oceans. Maritime research stations went silent. Entire naval fleets disappeared without a trace. The first confirmed contact happened off the coast of Portugal. Massive biomechanical ships emerging from the depths, destroying everything in their path. Jay remembered the emergency meeting at the Naval Command Center. Scientists and military strategists had scrambled to understand the threat. The aliens, later identified as the Oceanic Collective, seemed intent on claiming Earth's maritime territories. Their technology was unlike anything humanity had ever encountered. The U-boat beneath Jay's feet was no ordinary submarine. Engineers had spent months integrating quantum computing systems, adaptive AI, and experimental stealth technologies into the old World War II design. They had taken the concept of a submarine and transformed it into a weapon that could potentially challenge the alien invaders. His crew was equally unique. Lieutenant Mina Kang, a brilliant electrical engineer, worked tirelessly on the communication systems. She had developed a quantum entanglement communication network that could potentially bypass alien detection. Weapons specialist Dong Soo Park had retrofitted the torpedo systems with plasma-based technology that could potentially penetrate the alien ship's advanced shielding. The ship's AI, nicknamed Ghost, continuously analyzed incoming data, running thousands of potential scenarios every second. It was more than just a computer system. It was a collaborative intelligence that worked in perfect sync with the human crew. Their mission was simple, yet impossible: discover the aliens' weakness and create a strategy for survival. As they moved silently through the cold Atlantic waters, the tension was palpable. Each crew member knew the stakes. Humanity's existence hung in the balance. The aliens had already destroyed multiple coastal cities, their biomechanical ships moving with an intelligence that suggested more than mere technological superiority. Suddenly, Ghost's holographic interface flickered. Multiple contact signatures appeared, alien reconnaissance units. Jay's training kicked in. He spoke calmly. Prepare silent mode. Activate adaptive camouflage. The U-boat's exterior shifted, mimicking the surrounding water's color and movement. It was a technology so advanced it seemed like magic, a perfect blend of quantum mechanics and material science. The crew moved with practiced precision, each person understanding their role without unnecessary communication. Lieutenant Kang's fingers danced across her control panel. Detecting 3 alien scout vessels, she whispered. They're scanning the area, but our signature is completely masked. Dong-Soo checked the weapon systems. The plasma torpedoes hummed with potential energy, waiting for a potential strike command. But Jay knew their primary mission was observation, not engagement. The alien vessels moved closer. Through the advanced periscope, Jay could see their strange biomechanical structure. Part machine, part organic material that seemed to breathe and pulse with an alien rhythm. They were searching, hunting, probing for any signs of human resistance. Minutes felt like hours. One wrong move could expose their position and potentially compromise the entire human resistance effort. The U-boat remained perfectly still, blending into the ocean's darkness like a ghost. Then, as quickly as they appeared, the alien vessels moved away. A collective sigh of relief swept through the crew. But Jay knew this was just the beginning. The war for the seas had only just started, and humanity's survival would depend on their ability to adapt, to learn, and to fight back against an enemy that seemed utterly incomprehensible. As the U-boat resumed its silent patrol, Jay looked at his crew. They were humanity's first line of defense, a small group of warriors ready to fight for their planet's survival in the vast, unforgiving battlefield of the ocean. The research facility hummed with nervous energy. Lieutenant Hyun Kim stood before a massive holographic display, her fingers tracing complex diagrams of quantum communication systems. The world was changing, and technology would be humanity's only weapon against the alien threat. After the first encounters with the Oceanic, collective engineers and scientists worked around the clock. Their mission was clear: develop technologies that could give humans a fighting chance. The U-boat program became the centerpiece of this desperate innovation. Hyun remembered the breakthrough that changed everything. During a late-night analysis session, she discovered a unique frequency pattern in the aliens' communication system. It was subtle, almost invisible to conventional detection methods, but her team had developed a quantum entanglement communication system that could not only detect but potentially disrupt alien signals. The new U-boat communication array looked nothing like traditional submarine equipment. It was a complex network of quantum-linked processors that could transmit information faster than light, changing patterns instantaneously to avoid detection. Each message was a puzzle that could only be decoded by specific quantum-entangled receivers. Weapon development moved equally quickly. The Plasma Torpedo Project, led by Chief Engineer Wu, represented a massive leap in naval warfare technology. These weren't just weapons. They were intelligent projectiles that could adapt mid-flight, changing trajectory and energy signature to bypass alien defensive systems. Testing grounds became a battlefield of innovation. Prototype torpedoes would be launched against simulated alien ship configurations. Each test provided crucial data. The team learned that the aliens' biomechanical ships had unique energy absorption capabilities that made traditional weapons useless. Their solution was elegant in its complexity. The new plasma torpedoes contained multiple energy signatures, capable of shifting frequencies and molecular structures mid-flight. They could break through alien shielding by constantly changing their fundamental properties. Stealth technology received equal attention. The U-boats needed to become invisible, not just to radar but to every known form of detection. Scientists developed an adaptive camouflage system that went beyond visual concealment. It could manipulate electromagnetic signatures, thermal emissions, and even quantum-level interactions. Hyun watched as a full-scale test of the new U-boat systems began. The retrofitted submarine looked like a ghost in the water, its exterior shifting and changing like living liquid. Sensors showed it was virtually undetectable, a technological miracle that seemed to defy the laws of physics. The psychological aspect of warfare wasn't ignored. Military strategists worked with communication experts to develop methods of disrupting alien command structures. If they could introduce uncertainty and confusion into the alien network, they might create critical vulnerabilities. Training became intense and specialized. Crew members weren't just sailors anymore. They were technological warriors. Each person learned to work in perfect sync with the ship's AI, understanding that human intuition combined with machine processing created an unbeatable advantage. During one critical briefing, Captain J. Park outlined the new strategy. "We're no longer fighting with traditional naval tactics," he explained. "We're creating a new form of underwater warfare that the aliens cannot predict or understand." The first real-world test came unexpectedly. An alien scout group appeared near the testing zone. Instead of running, Hyun's team saw an opportunity. The U-boat activated its new systems, sending out carefully designed quantum signals that created a complex interference pattern. The alien vessels became confused. Their scanning systems received conflicting information, multiple submarine signatures that appeared and disappeared randomly. It was information warfare at its most sophisticated level. For 12 critical minutes, the U-boat played a complex game of technological cat and mouse. The aliens could not lock onto their position, could not understand the shifting signals. It was a small victory, but an important one. As the alien vessels retreated, the research facility erupted in cautious celebration. They had proven that human innovation could challenge the seemingly superior alien technology. More importantly, they had shown that adaptation was humanity's greatest strength. Hyun looked at her team, exhausted but determined. The war for the seas was far from over, but they had taken a significant step forward. Technology would be their weapon, innovation their shield. The Atlantic Ocean had become a battlefield unlike any in human history. Commander Seok Choi watched the holographic display, tracking the complex movements of both human and alien naval units. Dozens of modified U-boats now prowled the massive water territory, hunting the alien invasion force. Their strategy had evolved. No longer were they simply defending. They were actively attacking the alien maritime infrastructure. Each U-boat operated like a highly intelligent predator, using quantum communication and adaptive technologies to strike where the enemy least expected. The first major engagement happened near the mid-Atlantic ridge. 3 alien support vessels were moving supplies between their underwater bases. The U-boat squadron, led by Captain J. Park, moved with calculated precision. They weren't just a military unit. They were a technological wolf pack. Lieutenant Mina Kang's advanced scanning systems picked up the alien vessel signatures. Multiple targets confirmed, she reported. Her fingers danced across the quantum interface, sending encrypted communication signals that would be invisible to alien detection systems. The U-boats used a complex attack pattern. Some vessels acted as decoys, creating false sensor readings. Others moved silently, preparing to strike. The plasma torpedoes were loaded, their adaptive systems ready to change molecular structure mid-flight to penetrate alien shielding. One U-boat approached from the deep ocean trench, using underwater geological formations as natural cover. Its adaptive camouflage made it virtually invisible, blending perfectly with the rocky ocean floor. The alien vessels continued their routine supply movement, completely unaware of the approaching threat. Commander Choi's voice was calm, but firm. Prepare attack sequence, target the secondary support vessel first. The crew moved with synchronized precision. Years of training and technological integration working as a single organism. The first plasma torpedo launched. It moved through the water like a living thing, changing its energy signature multiple times per second. Traditional alien defensive systems couldn't track its unpredictable movement. When it struck, the result was devastating. A perfect hit that completely disabled the alien support vessel. Chaos erupted among the alien fleet. Their communication systems became confused, sending conflicting signals. The U-boats exploited this moment of uncertainty, launching a coordinated strike that destroyed 2 more vessels within minutes. But the aliens weren't defenseless. Massive biomechanical ships began converging on the attack site. Their weapon systems were unlike anything humans had seen before. Energy projections that could potentially vaporize entire submarine units. Captain Park understood the risks. Initiate secondary evasion protocol, he commanded. The U-boats didn't retreat. Instead, they used complex movement patterns that made their positioning impossible to predict. Some vessels released quantum interference drones that created multiple false sensor signatures. The battle became a complex dance of technology and strategy. Each U-boat was more than a weapon. It was a thinking, adapting system that could change tactics in milliseconds. The alien fleet found itself fighting an enemy that didn't follow traditional warfare rules. Underwater drone swarms were deployed, creating additional confusion. These small, intelligent devices could attach to alien vessels, gathering critical information and potentially introducing technological viruses into their systems. After 3 intense hours, the human forces had destroyed 6 alien support vessels and critically damaged 2 larger command ships. The losses were minimal on the human side, a testament to their advanced technological approach. Commander Choi knew this was more than a battle. It was a message. Humanity would not simply surrender its oceanic territories. They would fight, adapt, and use every technological advantage they could create. As the remaining alien vessels retreated, the U-boat squadron regrouped. They had proven something critical. Human innovation and strategic thinking could challenge a technologically superior enemy. The quantum communication systems buzzed with encrypted messages of celebration, but Commander Choi understood the war was far from over. This was just one battle in a much larger conflict. The Atlantic Ocean continued to churn, holding its secrets. The hunt would continue. The ocean floor held secrets that would change the entire war. Analyst Yoon Lee sat in the cramped research station, her eyes locked on the quantum-enhanced scanning display. What they had discovered would alter everything. Deep beneath the Atlantic, a massive alien infrastructure had been hidden. Underwater bases connected by complex biomechanical tunnels, supply lines that kept the entire invasion force operational. Each scanning pulse revealed more intricate details of their maritime network. Intelligence suggested these bases were more than simple supply stations. They were the central nervous system of the entire Oceanic Collective's invasion strategy. Destroy these and humanity might have a real chance of survival. Captain J. Park assembled a special strike team. 5 of the most advanced U-boats would participate in what might be the most critical mission of the entire conflict. Each vessel carried specialized equipment developed specifically for this operation. Lieutenant Mina Kang's communication systems had tracked alien movement patterns for weeks. She had discovered something unusual, a periodic energy signature that suggested a weakness in their defensive network. These brief windows of vulnerability would be their attack point. The underwater approach was complex. U-boats would use advanced geological camouflage, moving through deep ocean trenches and using natural rock formations to remain undetected. Their adaptive technologies would make them essentially invisible to alien scanning systems. Drone swarms were launched ahead of the main fleet. These small intelligent devices would map the entire alien underwater infrastructure, sending real-time data back to the command center. Each drone was more than a simple machine. It was a quantum-linked intelligence that could adapt and learn. They approached the first alien base. Tension filled every vessel. The biomechanical structure looked like a living organism, part machine, part organic material that seemed to breathe and pulse with an alien rhythm. Traditional weapons would be useless against such a complex system. The plasma torpedoes were something else entirely. Developed through months of intense research, they could change molecular structure mid-flight, adapting to penetrate the most complex defensive systems. Each torpedo was essentially a small, intelligent weapon capable of making independent targeting decisions. Commander Seok Choi's voice remained calm. Prepare primary attack sequence. Target the central communication hub. The crew moved with practiced precision, each person understanding their critical role in this complex operation. The first wave of attacks was surgical. Quantum disruption. Devices were launched, creating massive interference in the alien communication network. Suddenly, their coordinated systems became confused, sending conflicting signals across their entire maritime infrastructure. Plasma torpedoes followed, striking with unprecedented precision. The alien bases didn't just get damaged. They were systematically dismantled from the inside. Each strike introduced complex quantum viruses that spread through their biomechanical systems. What made the attack truly revolutionary was its psychological impact. The aliens had believed themselves technologically superior. Now they were facing an enemy that could not only match but potentially exceed their capabilities. 3 critical alien bases were destroyed within hours. The underwater landscape changed dramatically. Massive biomechanical structures collapsing, complex networks of communication suddenly going silent. It was more than a military victory. It was a statement of human potential. Yoon Lee watched, the data streams, her hands shaking slightly. They had done something many thought impossible. They had found the aliens' weakness and exploited it with pure human innovation. As the remaining U-boats regrouped, a strange silence filled the communication channels. They had struck a massive blow against an enemy that seemed unbeatable just months earlier. The turning tide of the war was becoming clear. Captain Park looked at his crew. They weren't just sailors anymore. They were technological warriors who had fundamentally changed the nature of maritime warfare. The hunt continued, but now with a new sense of hope. The Mid-Atlantic Ridge became humanity's final battlefield. Admiral Tai Huang watched the holographic display, knowing everything would be decided in the next few hours. Months of preparation, technological innovation, and strategic planning had led to this moment. The alien fleet looked massive, hundreds of biomechanical ships covering the ocean's surface like a dark, living carpet. But the human U-boat squadrons were no longer afraid. They had become something more than traditional naval units. They were technological predators. Quantum communication systems hummed with synchronized energy. Each U-boat was connected through an invisible network, sharing information faster than the aliens could process. Their adaptive AI systems worked in perfect harmony, creating attack patterns that defied traditional understanding of naval warfare. Captain J. Park's voice came through the communication channel. Final attack sequence initiated. Dozens of U-boats began moving, their adaptive camouflage making them virtually invisible. They were no longer just hiding, they were hunting. The first wave of attacks came from unexpected directions. Underwater, drone swarms launched simultaneously, creating massive interference in alien scanning systems. These weren't simple machines, but intelligent quantum-linked devices capable of independent decision-making. Plasma torpedoes followed, moving through water with impossible precision. Each projectile could change its molecular structure mid-flight, adapting to penetrate the most complex defensive systems. The aliens found themselves fighting an enemy that didn't follow any known rules of engagement. Lieutenant Mina Kang's communication systems introduced complex quantum viruses into the B alien network. Their communication became chaos, conflicting signals, broken command structures, total confusion. The once coordinated invasion force began to break apart. The battle wasn't just about destruction. It was a demonstration of human technological potential. Each U-boat operated like a living organism, adapting, learning, changing strategies in milliseconds. The aliens had believed themselves technologically superior. Now they were being systematically dismantled. Underwater geological formations became part of the attack strategy. U-boats used deep ocean trenches, volcanic ridges, and complex underwater landscapes as natural cover and attack points. They weren't just fighting, they were transforming the entire battlefield. Admiral Huang watched critical alien command ships get systematically destroyed. Their massive biomechanical structures collapsed, unable to withstand the complex quantum-based attacks. Each destroyed vessel sent shockwaves through the alien communication network. The psychological impact was as significant as the physical destruction. The Oceanic Collective had believed Earth's oceans were their natural territory. Now they were facing an enemy that could not only resist but completely overwhelm their technological capabilities. Hours of intense battle transformed the mid-Atlantic ridge. Massive alien ships sank into the deep ocean, their complex biomechanical systems failing. The water became a graveyard of technological dreams, a testament to human innovation and strategic thinking. As the final alien vessels retreated, a strange silence fell. The U-boat crews didn't celebrate immediately. They understood the weight of what they had accomplished. This wasn't just a military victory. It was a fundamental shift in humanity's understanding of its own potential. Captain Park looked at his crew. They were no longer just sailors or soldiers. They were pioneers who had fundamentally changed the nature of human technological warfare. Each person had become part of something much larger than themselves. Communication channels opened worldwide. Military stations, research facilities, and governments received the same message. The alien maritime invasion had been defeated. Humanity had not just survived, they had triumphed. Yoon Lee's research data would be studied for generations. They had shown that human innovation, adaptability, and collective intelligence could overcome seemingly insurmountable challenges. The oceans were no longer a battlefield. They were a testament to human potential. As the sun rose over the Atlantic, the water seemed to calm. The massive destruction slowly settled, marine life beginning to return to the transformed landscape. The hunt was over. Humanity had won.